Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the worship service of the First Unitarian Church of Hobart, where we strive to put love at the center of how we show up in the world. So each week during our Sunday morning worship service, we join together in reciting together the words of our affirmation of faith printed in your order of service and on the screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament. Service is its prayer. And this is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Since not everyone can attend in person, we are streaming this worship service online, and we extend a special welcome to all who are joining us virtually. The joys and sorrows portion of our service, however, is private, and we will temporarily pause the stream for that. Other than that, this worship service is being recorded and will be available for future viewing on our website. Today, our worship service will be led by our guest, Buffy Adams, also known as your official hope dealer. She is a motivational speaker, author, and life coach. By day, Buffy works for IYG, North America's longest-running LGBTQ+ youth organization that creates safer spaces to foster community and magnify young voices. By night, as a successful keynote speaker, Buffy has inspired and educated thousands on a variety of topics throughout the corporate, college, faith, youth, LGBTQ+, and women's speaking circuits. Buffy is a graduate of Purdue University Calumet with a BA in communications, and she is currently pursuing her master's degree in business and ministry. Please turn off or silence your devices, and as you do so, allow yourself to enter sacred time together and take a breath and another, and join in the spirit of reverence.
Hello, everybody. Religion and government will both exist in greater purity the less they are mixed together. Wise words from James Madison. By embracing the separation of church and state, we can foster a society that values diversity, promotes tolerance, and protects individual rights. Does that sound like this amazing Unitarian congregation? Believe in him or not, even Jesus' teachings suggest a distinction between spiritual and civil authority, which can be interpreted as a form of separation of church and state. When asked about paying taxes to Caesar, Jesus replied, "Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's." This statement implies that even biblically, there's a separation of realms. The government and the church have separate roles. The government is responsible for civil matters, and the church focusing on spiritual guidance.
Good morning. The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It suggests the transformations that take place when we are held within religious community. When we light the chalice in worship, we illuminate a world that we feel called upon to serve with love and a sense of justice. Please join us in lighting our chalice by reading together the words on the screen and in your order of service. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. Okay, I'm going to read this as written. Unitarian Universalism is a covenant AI faith. We do not have a creed. Instead, we commit to walking together in the spirit of mutual love, abiding by the promises to which this congregation has democratically agreed in creating and revising our congregational covenant. So each week we reaffirm together a portion of that congregational covenant. I will read the first line and you will reply with the words on the screen. For all the ways that we have neglected to participate in the life of our congregation, may we forgive ourselves and each other and begin again in love. For all the ways that we have not supported the goals of the congregation, may we forgive ourselves and each other and begin again in love. For all the ways that we have not accepted and civilly engaged with challenging situations, may we forgive ourselves and each other and begin again in love. Thank you. Now, please take a moment to greet your neighbors by waving your hands and letting the warmth of your smile fill the spaces between us. Now please rise in body or spirit to join in singing hymn number 1015 in the Teal hymnal, I Know I Can.
brothers, we have the opportunity to share our own private joys and sorrows with one another, to hold them together so that the lightness of our joys lifts us all up, and so that the heaviness of our sorrow feels easier to bear. I'm going to come around the room with this microphone so that anyone who wishes to share their joys and sorrows can do so. I just ask that when I come to you, you share your name so that we know who you are. So does anyone have anything?
story called Teacup by Rebecca Young, illustrated by Matt Osley. Once there was a boy who had to leave his home and find another. In his bag, he carried a book, a bottle, and a blanket. In his teacup, he held some earth from where he used to play. Some days, the sea was kind, gently rocking him to sleep. Some days, the sea was bold, and the boy held tightly to his teacup. Some days shone bright on an endless sea of white. Other days were so dark that the boy longed for the stars. Every day he watched the horizon for a speck that he could follow until it grew into something glorious. But there was no sign of land. As the boy stared at the sky, an albatross cut across the blue. The way it dipped and dived reminded him of flying kites back home. The taste of salt on his lips reminded him of the sea breeze whistling through his favorite tree. The way the whales called out to one another reminded him of how his mother used to call him in for tea. And the way the clouds slowly swam into view reminded him of how things can change with a whisper. The boy awoke to something new. Over trembling seas, it grew and grew and grew. The tree gave him shelter and shade, apples to eat, branches to climb, and cozy nooks that he knew were just perfect for daydreaming. From high, he continued his search for a speck on the horizon. When he first saw it, it was so very small that he wasn't certain he'd seen anything at all. But before long, there was a bump. The boy was happy with what he saw. There he began to build, and he waited for a whisper. Until the day the girl with the broken egg cup arrived. I'd like to read what's written on the back of this book, which, in my opinion, sums it all up. Every journey requires a traveler and a little bit of hope. Now please rise in body or spirit to join in singing hymn number 1040, Hush, in the teal hymnal.
thank you so much. Those perfect hymns and the perfect story, the children's story of the teacup. I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect for the Hope Dealer being here today. Thanks for the invitation to be a part of your month-long series, Who's Next? Stories from the Front Line. I'm going to cover a lot of reality today, more reality than the Hope Dealer usually shares, so it's a stretch for me today, and it was a tough message to get out of my heart and head and on paper, because when we're talking about stories from the front line right now, there is a lot of reality. And as I was sitting there hearing the story of the teacup, it really made me think that right now, what's happening in America is kind of that teacup, and all of us in the resistance with the hope, we're kind of the dirt in the teacup right now. And just know that tree of freedom and hope and resistance will grow. We're just going to have to do a lot of care and cultivation in the meantime. So thank you all so much. Right now, the story from the front line is we have nothing left to lose. That's where we're at right now. Nothing left to lose. Every person of every faith or no faith, every atheist, every agnostic, every Unitarian, Buddhist, Muslim, Jew, Hindu, witch, warlock, Christian, any religion, no religion. If we're red, blue, green, yellow, or no political affiliation at all, everyone in this moment has a role to play in stopping the spread of the very dangerous anti-gospel, anti-Jesus, anti-American movement of Christian nationalism. Like most of you, I watched in horror as the attack on our Capitol happened on January 6th. Seeing the violent breach of the U.S. Capitol, the very symbol of American democracy, was surreal in so many ways. And the overwhelming of the police, the life being threatened of so many lawmakers, it evoked shock, disbelief, and real concern for the future. But I was also super confused that day as I watched and saw so many signs with the name Jesus on it. So many symbols of the Christian faith, crosses erected, people screaming hymns and praying to God. The violent attack, the bloodshed, this attempted coup in part was done in the name of this God. I actually wondered many times through 45's first term, who is this God that they keep invoking? It was unthinkable. And little did we know at the time that January 6th, boy, that was kind of the tip of the iceberg, because the unthinkable continues to happen day after day after day, all in the name of God, using religion as a hall pass to hurt and harm, well, pretty much anyone that's not rich, white, or male. Every single day since November of 2024, much of what's happening in the hands of lawmakers attacking marginalized communities in the name of God, Jesus, and they claim to be led by faith. So I'm kind of preaching to the choir right now, but just to recap for all of us what we're dealing with, and this isn't even a comprehensive list. Women, minorities, immigrants, poor, sick, differently abled, journalists. Education is under attack, public lands, the FAA, our beloved elderly, federal workers, farmers, veterans, LGBTQ+, starving children here and around the world, neighbors and families and students and kids getting kidnapped off the streets, being sent away to maximum security prisons in faraway lands, concentration camps being erected in our own country. Just over the last 5 days, we've seen Alcatraz. and merchandise being sold and people being very excited and celebrating the fact that people in these concentration camps just might be eaten and killed by an alligator. These concentration camps today are holding many brown people, even those here legally. It's been made clear that homegrowns are next. And I think we all know, especially us sitting here, that it's not going to stop with just brown people. Next will come different ethnic groups, media, the protesters, different religious groups, and just like the Nazi concentration camps, there's little doubt that LGBTQ plus people will not be spared. As you probably just saw in the news, a preacher in the Indianapolis area has called for the execution, the murder, the death of LGBTQ plus people. The economy has been on an unbelievable roller coaster, tariffs, diplomacy, and relationships with allies damaged forever. Dictators lifted up as examples of the kind of friendships and relationships we now value in the US. Countless safeguards that hold together the fragility of freedom and democracy, all hanging in the balance. Voting rights. Will we ever have another election? Many of you probably saw just in Miami, the Republican mayor has postponed the 2025 election and moved it to 2026. And of course, wars and threats of wars. Let me make a bold declaration that in no way are any of these actions representative of the brown-skinned, radical rebel, social justice Jesus, who I follow, who was a fighter for the oppressed, the poor, the hungry, and the marginalized people. No, this Christianity is not that of love your neighbor. And even my atheist, agnostic, and different faith friends know this truth. One need not believe in Jesus to know what's happening in America is not living and loving like the Jesus of the oppressed. What's driving this hostile democracy takeover is a strategic, well-funded, very long-standing movement called Christian nationalism. So today we're at a critical juncture in the history of our nation. We stand at a crossroads where the very foundation of our democracy is hanging in the balance and under assault. This is a movement cloaked in the word faith and patriotism. It seeks to impose a very narrow vision for us all. This movement is Christian nationalism, and it's representative of a very grave threat that we're dealing with. And some have said to me, Buffy, aren't you just being alarmist? Isn't this just politics as usual? And I say to you, this is not just politics. One of the biggest tactical errors we can make right now is continuing to believe that this is just red versus blue, Republican versus Democrat. It's not. Our grandfather's Republican Party is dead. And if we continue using the same playbook that we've used in all elections past, we will never regain our footing for democracy. So, this isn't just about policy disagreements. Boy, I miss those days. I never thought I would say that I miss George Bush. But this is about fundamentally altering the structure of our government and imposing a vision for our entire nation. It's a plan to turn the United States into a nation where religious minorities and those with differing beliefs are all treated as second-class citizens. Worst case scenario, not even as citizens anymore. We must understand that this movement isn't some futuristic fantasy. It is a well-funded, meticulously planned operation that is already underway. Those involved are rich, power-hungry, serious, dedicated, and they have a clear vision of what they want to accomplish. So even if you aren't religious or you're not a believer, you must understand this is a spiritual battle for the soul of our nation. It's a struggle between those who seek to build bridges and lifelines and those who seek to build walls and cages. It's a fight between those who embrace diversity and those who demand conformity. It is a conflict between those who believe in the separation of church and state and those who seek to establish a theocracy under the guise of Christian values. Let's be clear, the threat we face isn't about Christianity itself. My faith teaches love, compassion, and justice, and that's why I feel so at home here with the Unitarian Church. What we are facing is Christian nationalism, a dangerous ideology that seeks to merge religious belief with political power. And I don't know about you, but it really is a concept and a movement that I unfortunately didn't know a lot about. Even in 45's first term, I really didn't understand what was happening, the underpinnings of Christian nationalism. So to me, it's a very new term that even though the actions of these people have been around for such a long time, the actual definition and understanding of what it's about is a very new and scary concept to even me. There's one thing that that's the scariest, I think. They don't care how they achieve what's going to happen. Bloodshed, civil war, even death. They think they have the right to dispose of anyone or anything that stands in their way. And that's ending democracy, ending our way of life. So whether you know it or not, you already are well aware of the handiwork of the Christian nationalism and their beliefs, because they laid out their blueprint for us, and it's called Project 2025. So Project 2025, is everybody in here, show of hands, who has not heard of Project 2025? Okay, just a few of us, that's good, that's really good, because this is a great place for us to start. All that's been happening since January of 2026 was all laid out in a blueprint. It's an action plan. They laid it out, they flaunted it in our face. We were told, we were shown, we were warned what their plan was to do all throughout the campaign cycle, long before a winner was even declared. We knew, maybe we didn't want to believe it, and it was so outlandish that it was easy for them to say, we don't know what you're talking about. We have nothing to do with that. But we knew they were lying, and they knew we knew. But nobody could have known, not even them, how quickly the acceleration of what's happening in Project 2025 has happened. It's a direct assault on the very principles and freedoms this country was founded upon. And here's the thing I want you to understand. If you wonder why certain things that are laid out in Project 2025 are so important to Christian nationalism, this is the key right here. The goal of Project 2025 and Christian nationalism is to conquer the 7 mountains. Who's heard of the 7 mountains as laid out by Christian nationalism? This is going to put it all together for you guys, and this is why it's going to be so scary. Conquering the 7 mountains isn't about just infiltrating these establishments and these areas. What this is blowing these 7 mountains up so they have total dominance over these 7 key areas. And here's the 7 mountains. And now this is going to make sense as to why Project 2025 is unfolding the way it is. The 7 mountains that they want to conquer are in religion, families, education, government, media, arts and entertainment, and business. The goal, total power and control to usher in their sick and twisted version of God's kingdom, where white supremacy is the law of the land. Now knowing those 7 mountains, does it all seem to make sense now, what Project 2025 is focused on? Yes. This isn't politics, my friends. This is a battle for democracy. We're in the fight of our lives. So what does this mean for all of us? Our families, our communities. It means loss of hard-won rights, freedoms, the right to make our own reproductive choices, the right to marry who we love, the right to worship as we please, or if we choose not to worship at all. It's religious indoctrination. The right to a society where everyone is treated with dignity and respect, regardless of their race, religion, or gender, sexual orientation, or any other difference, is all hanging in the balance. The future of our daughters, our nieces, any young females, life as we know it is going to change for them. Many of us in this room might remember females couldn't even get a car loan, or we couldn't even get a credit card without a signature of a husband. Those days are at our doorstep. They want to take us back to a time when women had limited or no rights, when LGBTQ people were forced to live in the shadows, and where religious minorities were persecuted or even killed. We can't let them succeed, but right now, does everybody have the Project 2025 tracker on their phone? get it, it's alarming, but we're gonna need it so we understand how far they're coming along. The Project 2025 tracker right now shows that 45% of the plan has been implemented. Of the 313 objectives, 110 have already, 62 in progress. Christian nationalism is a distortion of faith, and it takes the message of love, compassion, and forgiveness at the heart of the gospel and twists it into something that's not even ethical. It misrepresents the teachings of Jesus to justify its own political agenda. And don't worry, we're going to get to the hope stuff. I know this is heavy and it's reality. But let's remember, let me just, a side note, the very fact that I can still stand up here right now and share this with a room filled with people who care enough to show up on a Sunday morning, that alone is a nugget of hope. The fact that we're still able to talk about this and spread awareness about it, we're not done yet. That is a very hopeful sign, and that's what we have to keep in mind, that no matter how reality-filled this is, the very fact that we could share this knowledge and then talk about it and continue to learn more, that is hope right there. Hope is in that resistance. So, Jesus preached love, compassion, especially for the marginalized and oppressed. He challenged the powerful and stood up to the voiceless. He taught us to love our enemies and to pray for those who persecuted us. Where is that spirit in Christian nationalism? Where is the love and compassion in demonizing immigrants, denying rights to LGBTQ folks, and stripping away health care from the poor, the old, and the sick? Where's the forgiveness when hate is spewed at anyone that's different? Even the gospel, even if the gospel isn't something you believe in, even if it's been used as a weapon of division against you, we must call out the true teachings of Jesus, who called us to love our neighbors as ourselves. Man, nothing is more powerful than when my atheist friends or my agnostic friends can say, now I don't believe in that, but even I know that's not Jesus. That is powerful stuff, and that's what one thing we all really need to do, and that's why it's so important for you all to be understanding what Christian nationalism is about, and the fact that that is not the Gospels, that is not Jesus. There are also people who have never engaged in politics before, and they've stayed out of the fray, so we have to be able to reach them. Now, there are some indoctrinated people that are just too far gone. I want to encourage you to stop wasting your energy and your time trying to fight with them or pull them along. There's people who wear the red, they wear the name of the movement. Try not to waste too much time with them because they're just too far into the cult to probably ever be saved. But there's a small percentage of and there's also a small percentage of high-level rich men and women. But there are people in the middle, right on the fence right now, especially as they realize that they were duped, that their vote shouldn't have gone there. And we've all seen these people starting to come out on social media saying, I didn't know this was going to happen to me. And it's easy for us to say, you were okay with it happening to everybody else as long as it was happening not to you. But I want to encourage all of us to stop that. The only way we're going to swing things on the other side, if we ever get another election, is to welcome these people with open arms, encourage them with love and light, that while we can't understand what their vote was about, the fact that they're realizing it now, we welcome you, and let's talk about what happened. And with your knowledge of Christian nationalism, maybe now you can understand a little bit more how so many people were duped into thinking that this was a God thing, because they really didn't dig into what was happening in Project 2025 or just under the service. And again, those people who have never been involved in politics before, those are also our target audience right now, to be able to talk to them in a very educated and hopeful way. These are the two groups where we can make some inroads. These are the people who need to know about what's happening with Christian nationalism and the truth about the truth of the gospel, and the true love of Jesus Christ. And this is where you, all of you, the atheists, the agnostics, those from different faiths, this is where you have such an important voice and platform. Because like I said, there's nothing more powerful than an atheist saying, I don't follow him, but that ain't Jesus. That really stops true Christians in their tracks in a way that many other things can't. Those are powerful words. Another thing is when a Jew or a Muslim or one of my other faith friends say, now I'm not Christian and I haven't followed Christianity ever for a long time, but I know that's not the Christianity of the Bible. That's another powerful statement that really makes people start to realize that, gosh, where is Jesus in all this? Where are the fruits of the Spirit? Where is the love your neighbor? And when our atheist and agnostic and different faith friends start talking that way, you are helping bridge that gap to put an end to Christian nationalism and bring those people that are on the fringe of it back to the other side. My goal isn't to convert anybody. My goal today is not to convert any of you. It's just a call to action. And that's what our motives have to be, to bring people back from the brink of Christian nationalism and call out the true fact of the narrative they have painted of God and faith and Jesus just isn't true. This is where we're reminding people that a true Christ follower is about serving others, not seeking power. One of the other things that we really have to do is reclaim that flag and use the flag as a symbol of hope and solidarity. Man, have they hijacked the flag. Anytime I see a flag on somebody's house or on the back of somebody's bumper, I know exactly who they are. And that's not right, because the flag belongs to us just as much as Jesus and God and faith belongs to us. Who remembers saying the good old pledge, liberty and justice for all? Man, is that out the window? Right? So I really want us to start using the flag for good. Use the flag as a symbol of hope and solidarity, a fight for justice and equality, what it was supposed to be. Let's start displaying it proudly at protests. Let's start reclaiming it. Let's start bringing the American flag in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter flag or the rainbow flag. One of the things that I've started encouraging people to do as a little wink and a nudge is paint that pole blue or put a piece of rainbow tape on it. So the flag will be there, but the pole is kind of like a wink and a nudge to say, hey, I'm holding the flag, but I'm one of you. So let's get creative with how we can reclaim the flag and bring it back to us. Finally, let's reclaim our freedom by defending the separation of church and state. So many people, especially religious people or God-following people or true believers of Jesus Christ, have it in their head that they can't stand for separation of church and state without being anti-God. I think that that's another message that we all can take on and in a more loving and compassionate way. I think it's gotten a bad rap because we come from a place of, many of us have been hurt by religion. Many of us has been hurt by the weaponized Bible. I get that. But if we start showing love and compassion and showing the benefits of keeping separation of church and state in a different, more compassionate way, we can get more people on our side of that issue by really talking about it and saying it's not anti-God. In fact, we're trying to preserve your right to religious freedom in a way that many people don't put two and two together when we talk about the separation of church and state. And this is where change can happen. So in closing, there's so much more to do together to resist this dangerous ideology in reclaiming our freedom, our faith, and our flag. And it's just so much history and so much to go into in a 20-minute talk. But we must continue to educate ourselves about the roots and motives of Christian nationalism. We've got to learn about the history and how it's infiltrated our country and taken over. We have got to understand its tactics and its strategies and arm ourselves with that knowledge, because that is the only way that we can actually stand up against it, to understand how it got in here. We've got to continue to speak out. Speak out against Christian nationalism wherever and whenever you can counter it. Listen, we have got to remind people, especially our political friends, that this is not politics as usual, and we have to start using the term Christian nationalism and educating people about it. That is where we're going to make some inroads. We also have to be very careful when we're doing this to protect our own energy and to come at it with a very positive and hopeful way, because the law of attraction is real. And when we are out there resisting, we have to make sure that we're not attracting more of what we're resisting. And that's a true thing. So when we're talking about these things, when we're educating ourselves, we still have to stand up in a positive and a positively energy-filled way. And we have to continue to amplify our voices for those, and you all do such a great job of this. You are in the gap for every marginalized community, fighting for them, and that is just an amazing thing. We also have to fight for those religious minorities, LGBTQ individuals. Thank you all for your support of IYG and our mission. And we've really got to target that hateful rhetoric in a way and start asking questions in a very positive and compassionate way of, where is Christianity in that? When people are posting things about taking health care away from poor people, from cutting Medicaid, from hurting older people, really asking the question, not from a I want to win this argument stance, but really we have got to do one thing that Christian nationalists did, is they took time to get in at every ho-bunk church and individual they could, and they really listened, and they honed in on that hate and that spark that really could grab them. And we've got to do a better job of that to win them back, to ask them, what is it right now that you believe in about this? And really have those conversations. I'm telling you, don't waste time too much on people who you know are just too far gone on the other side. But we can all probably think already of one or two people that we know are on the fence or not involved in politics at all. And those are the people we have to start talking to and bringing in to a movement of protecting our freedoms. So many people still don't understand what's happening, folks. They still don't realize what's at stake and what we're about to lose. So we have to remind people that the United States is a nation of religious and non-religious traditions, that contributions of people of color, women, and members of other faith traditions have helped build this nation. We have all got to start talking in that way and not just continually using memes and talking about the negative side of the other, almost a reaction to it. We have to be proactive with our message and just talk about all the amazing things of this country that we're losing. If you're interested in hearing more about this, I invite you to join me. There's so much more education. There's 20 or 30 more action items that all of us can be doing that I'm putting into a PDF action guide. But I encourage you to follow me on Facebook, Buffy D. Adams. Shoot me an email or a text if you want to hear more and be a part of this group against Christian nationalism that we're putting together. Join my Hope Dealer mailing list, because you're going to need a lot of hope nuggets to get through these coming days. The road ahead's not going to be easy. We're going to face opposition, criticism, and even persecution. Some of us are going to face injury. Some of us are going to face death. But we cannot be discouraged, because we have to stand firm in our commitments to justice and equality. And remember these words, and I know all of us know them well, of Martin Luther King: the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And I believe that now more than ever, we must continue to push that arc towards justice, even in this moment when it seems impossible. Let's finish up with a prayer. And if you don't pray, simply just meditate on love and light right now in this moment. God of hope, we thank you for the courage to face the challenges before us. Strengthen our resolve, guide our actions, and unite us in commitment to justice and peace. Help us to be instruments of your love and build a world where all are free, all are equal, and all are valued. God of liberty, God of truth, we come before you today with heavy hearts, yet man, we're still filled with hope. We see that the shadows are lengthening. We hear the voices of division rising. but grant us the courage to speak truth to power, the wisdom to discern your will, and the strength to stand firm in your commitment to justice and compassion. Open our eyes to the dangers that surround us and guide our feet on the path to righteousness. Help us rise above those who are using your name to hurt, harm, and hate the marginalized communities who we were called to love. Guide us, protect us, and swiftly deliver us from the evil of Christian nationalism. Amen.
Hello. Okay. We choose to welcome the spirit of life, join together in our aliveness, and share our resources. And this month we're sharing our Loose Change for Social Change offering with the River Forest School Nurse Supply Chest. River Forest School System's Nurse Supply Closet is mostly low-income schools system here in Hobart. The nurse distributes the supplies to students in need, and we're collecting financially as well as other items, health-related items that are in your program. And the money in the baskets goes to sustaining the mission for our congregation. The money in the cups goes to the River Forest School Nurse Supply Chest. Bleh. Those with us not in person today, there's an online link for both one-time and regular donations. For your prayers, your presence, your service, and your gifts, we are truly thankful. And okay. Another way that we walk together is by joining together for fun and fellowship. So do we have any announcements? Okay, well, let's move on. And now please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing hymn number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere.
Somewhere
Can't get rid of me that easy. Thanks, Gail, for the opportunity to do the closing words as well. I really appreciate it. Because reclaiming our faith, freedom, and flag from the grasp of the authoritarian dictator, fascist regime, somebody's trying to stop these words from getting out into the universe, and I feel that. It's going to require a multifaceted approach that involves education, community engagement, protecting marginalized groups, a commitment to social justice, and a lot of self-care. But the foundation on which this approach must be built is hope. The foundation must be hope. And hope isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. Hope is a form of resistance. It's not a wish. Hope requires action. It's a decision to believe that a better future is possible, even in the face of adversity. When we choose hope, we're resisting the forces of despair, the cynicism that seek to tear us down. And hope, man, it's contagious. When we share our hope with others, it can inspire and motivate them to keep going, even in the face of challenges. Collective hope can create a sense of community and solidarity, and you all know that so much. It reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles. Hope's not naive or simplistic. It's a complex and multifaceted emotion that requires effort and a commitment to continually cultivate it. And when we choose hope, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. We become part of a larger movement for change, and we inspire others to do the same. Surviving these next years is going to take a big commitment, and it's going to take community building like what we have here. And man, it's going to take strategic activism. So, hope is found in the resistance. We were made for such a time as this. And where there's hope, anything's possible. Anything, everything is possible. Hope carries us like an unspoken promise that can't be broken. A promise that while sometimes life is heavy and unpredictable, hope is a promise that will lift us up when we can no longer lift ourselves. Hope lifts, hope rises, hope anchors, hope floats. Hope is everything. Hope isn't magic or a wish. Hope isn't ignoring the reality of what's happening, but hope is the truth that something greater awaits. Possibilities abound in the presence of hope. Hope rises above the waiting. Hope heals, forgives, moves on, forgets, lights the way, and it never looks back. Hope perseveres. Hope is the miracle for tomorrow. It's the gratitude of today. Hope reminds us who we freaking are. Hope reminds us of what we deserve. Hope isn't a feeling. Hope is the fuel that not only turns the page for our next chapter of democracy. It's not just the fuel, but it's the fire. It's going to set this chapter on fire, and we're going to start anew, and we're going to build again. Hope belongs to us today, tomorrow, and forever. Thank you.
invite you to join me in reciting the words on the screen in your order of service to accompany our extinguishing of the chalice. May we continue to carry in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. Here we are together again. And now please join us in the parish hall for refreshments. I think I broke this. What is this? Because it melted or it stuck on,
Yeah, probably just
this.
blow it. They could just blow it out in the future.
Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2. Feedback. Feedback. Test 1. Test 1. Test 1. You're gonna have to go back there to hear it. Test 1. Test 1. Test 1. Test 1. Test 1. Let me find something to read. Too much. Your gain is way up. You can catch me over here. Hello? Is that better? Can you hear me? We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. And this is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, James. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. And this is our covenant. He's back there listening. I'm just reading. To seek the truth and love, and to help one another. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows and gifts and needs. She just walked out. You just walked past her.
I did.
Love versus hate. Never does hatred cease by hating in return. Only through love can hatred come to an end. Victory breeds hatred. The conquered dwell in sorrow and resentment. They who give up all thought of victory or defeat may be calm and live happy at peace. Let us overcome violence by gentleness. Let us overcome evil by good. Let us overcome the miserly, never heard of that word, by liberality. Let us overcome the liar. Oh, okay. Do we want to switch mics out? We can use this other mic. Oh, that's very possible because they were both laying together. But both mics were laying together, like in a pile. So chances are that we switched mics is 50-50. So I know it's kind of awful and it's got a weird ring to it. I can't help but talk like this when it definitely sounds weird. I didn't do it. You did it. Would you like me to keep talking? Those who would take over the earth and shape it to their will never, I notice, succeed. The earth is like a vessel, it's sacred, oh, so sacred, that at the mere approach of the profane, it is marred. And when they reach out their fingers, it is gone. For time in the world, some force themselves ahead and some are left behind. For a time in the world, some make a great noise and some are held silent. For a time in the world, some are puffed fat and some are kept hungry. For a time in the world, some push aboard and some are tipped out. At no time in the world will one who is sane overreach, overspend, or overrate. And always tell when you're I wasn't even talking into the mic at the time. You keep you people from touching it. Oh, how great is the divine moral law in humanity. Vast and illimitable, it gives birth and life to all created. All the institutions of human society and civilization. Laws, customs, and usages have their origin here. Before creation, a presence existed, self-contained, complete, formless, voiceless, mateless, changeless, which yet pervaded itself with unending motherhood. Though there can be no name for it, I have called it the way of life. Perhaps I should have called it the fullness of life, since fullness implies widening into space, implies still further widening, implies widening until the circle is whole. Love is like a circle. There's no end and no beginning. Only circle. In this sense, the way of life is fulfilled. Heaven is fulfilled. Earth is fulfilled. And a fit person also is fulfilled. There are 4 amplitudes of the universe, and a fit person is one of them. People rounding the way of earth, people rounding the way of heaven, heaven rounding the way of life till the circle is full. It's like a circle. Love is like a circle. No end and no beginning, only circle. What should I read now? The Journey of Love. Where in your hearts is that burning of desire? Is it true that we are made of dust, and the world is also made of dust? But the dust has motes rising. Whence come that drive in us? We look to the starry skies and the love storms in our hearts. Whence come that storm? The journey of love is a very, very long journey. But sometimes, with a sigh, you can cross that vast desert, search and search again without losing hope. You may find sometime a treasure on your way. My heart and my eyes are all devoted to the vision. Did I make that sound a little sexy? Know what I'm talking about? I am the self that dwells in the heart of every mortal creature. I am the beginning, the lifespan, and the end of all. I am the radiant sun among the light givers. I am the mind. I am the consciousness of living. I am death that snatches all. I also am the source of all that shall be born.
That mic is now tuned. I just cranked the amp down.
Okay.
The amp was creating too much power, and it was causing the feedback loops.
Oh,
I knocked it down to from 100 to 75%, and now the mic is perfectly in tune. And from 0 all the way up to 10 is solid, and it's no feedback. Also, high
do we?
pass filter helps.
Is it loud enough now?
Yeah, yeah. Like if I crank you up to 10, you have the thundering voice of God.
Thundering voice of God. Perfect. Now we have to do the other mics. Starting off with the lapel because that was the one that was giving us a feedback.
Awful. I have no idea what the hell was going on with that one. Okay, so high pass filter on. We need that. ChatGPT just told me that I should be using that.
Okay.
Apparently, if you have vocal mics, they should always have high pass filter on. Fun fact: you can't turn it on from the computer. You have to do it from an iPad.
Oh,
Because that's what I was looking for up there. That's why I kept clicking through it. I'm like, I can't find. It's telling me to engage this button, and it doesn't exist. Like
that,
it even told me where to find it. I'm like,
even on my side it doesn't show it?
no, it literally in the Windows software it just isn't there. You have to pull in the iPad app.
That is stupid.
Yeah, because I'm like following the instructions because it told me exactly where to find it in the Xair software. And I'm like, it's not there. But then I started using it on the app, and it's right where it told me it would be.
Okay.
Okay, so
Hello? All right. I kind of like the journey of love, but let's see if we can find another one. The sacred hoop. Then I was standing on the highest mountain of them all, and round beneath me was the whole hoop of the world. And while I stood there, I saw more than I could tell. And I understood more than I saw. For I was seeing in the sacred manner that the shapes of all things of the Spirit, and the shapes as they must live together like one being. And I saw the sacred hoop of my people was one of many hoops that make one circle wide as daylight and starlight. Yes?
The count?
It's still over here. Nobody's carried it back yet.
Oh, nobody's back there. Is Cheryl here?
Yeah, Cheryl's here somewhere. Maybe out in the garden.
I'll get the count later.
Oh, thank you.
Uh,
We're still working on Mike's because he's not going to be here the next 2 weeks. So,
those keys, are they still have
key to what?
that door?
The office door?
Huh?
The office door? Or the inner sanctum closet?